during the periods of time in the night that I was awake, which were several, I sort of reminisced about how life was, how busy we were, or how busy I was, and trying to remember when how that was, and then when it stopped. And I've just gone back in my calendar, and 10 years ago in December, I was volunteering one day a week at Restos de Coeur. I was running a small business selling Neil's Yard products, which entailed me um, doing the odd party here and there, um, recruiting new consultants, and traveling here, traveling there, and then I can see that I've done a second. I start to do a second day because I know eventually I was doing 2 days. It's not days; it was mornings, 2 mornings a week at Restos on a Monday and a Thursday. So I was quite busy, and that carried on for several months. And I think it was, I then had carpal tunnel surgery in 2015, both wrists in 6 weeks, which made a great difference for me driving. It was fabulous. It was amazing having had that done. So I went back to, I was off from Restos and I went back to Restos, and my hands were feeling better and stuff was moving on. So that carried on through 2015. Oh, here we go. So in May 2015, I remember we took the car in for a service, and we left it at the garage at the top of the hill and walked down into town. I think that's then, because I've got an appointment with some name I don't recognise. We walked down into town in Memorion, and then when it was time for us to come back up for the car, I was absolutely exhausted, and there were old ladies overtaking me up the hill, and I had to keep stopping and starting and stopping and starting. It was the most awful experience I can explain. It was just, I just didn't understand what was going on. And I can see that in June 2015, I have an appointment with who I think was my first rheumatologist. So I'd obviously been to the doctor, and he'd suspected PMR, polymyalgia rheumatica, who somebody said to me in comments, you won't find it because I've blocked them and deleted them, that it's self-inflicted. And I thought to myself, we will all at some point suffer with something self-inflicted, but you only know it was self-inflicted perhaps retrospectively. Somebody shouted at me the other week, get some Ozempic, what that pill that everybody's taking. Oh, and it's an injection, isn't it? And it was like, you're telling me to get healthy and lose weight, and then you're telling me to use a chemical to lose weight, and I'm doing what I can with the way that I eat. And who knows what the consequences of people using those will be, because we know anything like that, eventually you look and think, fuck, cigarettes, sugar, alcohol, there are consequences. You can't have an injection to lose weight without there being consequences in the future. All these women that have had Botox and plastic surgery, you can't keep doing that without there being consequences. So to say it's self-inflicted is just madness, isn't it, really? So yes, I can see that I've got an appointment with I think that is the rheumatologist, because I went to see a rheumatologist who, there was a waiting room full of people. It was in Poitiers, full of people, small waiting room, and I got called in and there was hardly any conversation, nothing. and it was okay. Yeah, you've got PMR. Here you are. Here's some steroids. Here's a prescription. Do this, do this, do this, and it was like tapering me really quickly, which is not what you're meant to do. So I came away from there, and I didn't know anything about polymyalgia rheumatica, and um, luckily, a friend of mine, a virtual friend of mine on Facebook, who I'd met on a forum years before, Dee, said to me, I have PMR, and recommended me the Health Unlocked site. And there I discovered all I needed to know about PMR, and realised I'd been given pretty poor medical help, if you want to call it that. So then went back to my doctor, who did me another referral. I'm sure this is 2015. No, it might have been 2016. Yeah, it was later than that. Because yeah, I'd been given bad advice, and then I went and saw but that's a bit later. But I was looking at what we were doing, and so I was doing restos, and then the reason I was thinking about this is that the Syria, the fall now of the Assad regime, which is absolutely horrendous. It's devastating, and I don't want to bring it here, because it is just too much to bring here. And but that caused a mass of refugees, and now it's possible to see why they were leaving their country, and all those people that have greeted them badly and treated them badly and whatever. You could see why they were leaving. But so around about that time, and I think it was 2015, we started, or I started, we became a hub for donations to for the refugees that were arriving on the edge of the channel. And so I was collecting, so alongside restos and alongside the MYR stuff, I was collecting clothes and shoes and pushchairs and all the things that people would need that have come and have fled their country with nothing. So we were doing that as well. So it was like there was a lot going on, and it's shocking to go back and discover that all of that I had to stop. So I stopped doing NYR. It was a year later, I think. I stopped doing NYR, and then I stopped restos. I was this was just pre PMR. I didn't understand why I was so tired, just doing a short, a morning's work, but I was tired. So stopped doing that, stopped doing MYR, and then MYR stopped doing France anyway, so I couldn't even do the online stuff. Finally was seen by my now rheumatologist, and given steroids, and I think that's it. I started taking steroids just before my mum died, which was June 2016. So I've got the years wrong slightly. So I had stopped everything. I wasn't doing anything apart from the things that I had to do. And looking at my calendar, there was still quite a lot on it. But I started taking steroids just before Mum died in 2016, so 8 years ago. And for a long time, they worked. It meant that I wasn't in pain, and it meant that I could move, and it meant that I could do stuff. I couldn't hang out clothes on the line. I couldn't fold washing. I could still cook. But there was a lot that I couldn't do. But I also still had fatigue in my body that I couldn't shift. So that it was during that period for maybe 18 months when I didn't, on days when we weren't going anywhere, then I didn't get dressed, because it's energy that I hadn't got, or it's energy that I would have used, and then it would have prevented me doing something else. So there were several days a week where I didn't get dressed. Phil bought me a secondhand PS3, which I didn't know he was buying me. I think he bought it with him. They must have been coming over. And he bought me a PS3 because he knew that I like to play simulation games. And he bought me that, and I found, because the later versions of PlayStations don't do the games that I like, so he bought me that, and I could spend a long time sitting playing. What did I play? Farm Simulator and The Sims, and or I'd watch telly or I'd read, but I couldn't really occupy myself any other way, and that went on for 18 months, 2 years, and then gradually I became much more well, but still need the steroids. And now it's rare that I reach a point that I have run out of steam or run out of spoons or run out of energy. That's quite rare, which is great. So I have the energy on most days to do the things I do. I noticed yesterday that it takes me till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon for everything to kick in, and then I can start being more and moving more, walking better, and just generally getting on. But yeah, life was really busy, and then 10 years on, there's nothing. Well, not nothing. I think, I was probably thinking about also the fact that we've been backwards and forwards to physio, and how it's so nice to have stopped. Yesterday we didn't go anywhere, and that was really nice. Today we've got art, and then I was thinking about going to the Hope Shop tomorrow, but it's going to be really cold, -1 in the morning, and I don't. Oh, excuse me. I don't want to trek out for an hour and a quarter on a journey that isn't a necessity in that sort of conditions. I keep seeing accidents on my Facebook feed, and I'm thinking, we don't need to go out. We'll stay here. We'll stay here and keep warm. And we don't need to go out. We're dog sitting for a bit in the afternoon on Saturday. But that will be, so Jo will be here in the afternoon with, we're keeping one dog, and she's going off somewhere with Achi, not for long, and then she'll be back. So we'll have her here for a bit for the afternoon on Saturday, and then there's nothing. And then we will go to the bank next week. I'll be ready then to go to the bank with all the paperwork that I'll print off, and set that in motion. I'm just worried about how to synchronise everything so that our pension payment, Mark's pension, 2 pensions, old age pension and NHS pension, don't get tripped up, because we can't afford not for money to go into the bank. So I'm a bit concerned about that. But other than that, I'll get that sorted next week. We did probably about a year of the refugee stuff before it became too much for me. And then all I could do was throw money at the people that go up, like Sarah would go up, and it's still goes up regularly up to the channel. Worked in Dunkirk for a while, worked in Calais for a while, and is now working for Roots, who supply and create areas where people can shower. It's called Roots, as in ROOTS. If I remember, I'll put a link in, but this is taking so long to upload, I might forget. So that I throw money at her every so often, and I throw money at Ronnie, who does something more local to her. There's a centre in Conflans that has often got, was always and has had for years now, a large contingent of refugees, and I think there's a turnover of refugees, but there's always a large contingent there, and she does bags for Christmas. So we donate stuff, and she does up a bag for each of them for Christmas with warm socks and gloves in, and chocolates and treats and things they can't afford on the €4, maybe less than €4 they get a week. And I saw somewhere yesterday that with this fall of the Assad regime, that Syrian asylum applications in Germany, that's the only bit I know about, have been put on hold. That might be a good thing. That might mean that people can go home. I can remember how moving it was to watch all those refugees arriving in Germany, being welcomed by Merkel. That it was just so heartwarming. And I know that what I looked at yesterday suggested that massive refugee, that decision she made, which I felt was really a good decision, politically, has what's pushed Germany to the right, to those bastards that don't think other people are human apart from them. And they're the least human people I can think of, the ones that are so anti-refugee or anybody that's slightly different from them. And I don't know whether they know, and because I don't believe, it's not something I would mention, but I don't know whether they know that actually whoever Jesus was Syrian. Okay, it's a bit of a mixed bit, isn't it? A bit of a mixed bag. Okay, it's 11 o'clock on Thursday morning. The last vlog took 14 hours to upload. I'm not in any hurry to upload them. It's like they'll do when they do. I don't care. I haven't got a Starlink. I am pleased. So you might not get this till Friday. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Bye.